Hey everyone, and welcome to another movie of the week. The movie of this week was Everything Everywhere All at Once. If this is your first movie of the week, what I do is I pick one movie, I talk about it here, you guys comment below your thoughts, and at the end of every video, I say the movie for next week. So everything, there's so many words. Everything Everywhere All at Once from 2022. If you haven't watched it, watch it now. Also, if you haven't watched it, are you freaking crazy? This movie's amazing, and it just won the Oscar Best Picture, all these other categories. I think, I don't know, like 8, 9 Oscars in all. So this is my second time watching the movie, and I obviously watched it last year in 2022. Didn't really watch it right when it came out. I think I waited till it was, you know, on video on demand. So I don't remember exactly when I watched it, but and then I kind of always wanted that to be, you know, one of the movies of the week. I kind of just picked a time in May, and then it won all the Oscars. And obviously, I don't know if you guys know this, but I picked every single movie of the week back in December 2022, so even back then it wasn't even nominated for the Oscars yet. And so, like, there's just so many things to touch on that I'm also gonna forget everything. But also, I just want to say, like, the concept, like, when I first realized concept, I was like, what? Because I am someone who is actually very interested in alternate universes, you know, the complexity of that, like what that means, how that looks like. And I myself come up with ideas that have to do with alternate universes. And so I, in 2020, came up with this like really good alternate universe movie idea called Alternate Universe. I've actually written the entire feature script. I have not gotten it copyrighted just because only a couple of my scripts I've gotten copyrighted. I really should, because the script I'm really passionate about. And it has to do with like alternate universes and romance in the alternate universes and what it looks like in different alternate universes. And then it has tennis in it, because anyway, but I always really like the idea of alternate universes and kind of know my fears if I ever am able to have that movie made or whatever, that people would think, you know, I stole the idea from Everything Everywhere at Once when I didn't. And there's also all these other ideas with alternate universes, but, you know, like, good minds think alike. And, you know, my alternate universe movie is more to do with romance and, you know, where you go in life. And this is obviously very, very different. So, like, what can we talk about? Because this could be, I don't know, this could be like the greatest movie ever made. Everything Everywhere All at Once. And, like, that's hard for me to say, you know, as a filmmaker and as a viewer and as a person in society, like, how can you not think this is like at least one of the greatest films ever made? And obviously I've said before, like, Clue is kind of my favorite movie, but like, it's kind of hard to like really like say, like, you know, say, oh, this is my favorite movie, just because it's like, I don't think I can watch this like every week. Like, Clue I could watch every week just because the way it is. But this is like, I can't. Maybe once a year, but just because I'm not saying it's my favorite movie, I'm gonna say, like, I am saying it's like probably the greatest movie ever made. Till the next greatest movie ever made, I don't know. And like, actually, I can't remember if I was crying the first time I was watching it. Probably a little bit, but like, I definitely was crying a lot more. And it's just also because of things like personally in my life, with one of my parents, like, it just made me sad relating to that aspect. But, you know, I think when people say they don't understand this movie, a lot of times it's parents. And you realize, like, you don't understand this movie because you're that parent who always, like, you know, puts their child on this pedestal, you know, the way you treat your child, because you just, like, you know, it's a mixture of things where it's, like, one thing, like, you know, you, because of your past and how your parents treated you, you know, you kind of have you kind of bring that along. And then also because, you know, there's some jealousy and resentment, like, where you want your child to be like what you never were, or like who you are, you know, always like that, you know, those Disney movies where it's like Dad, this is your dream. You know, that kind of aspect with like basketball or something. Like it's the same thing. So yeah, a lot of times I think people who don't understand this movie are parents. I feel like a lot of parents do understand this movie, but if you hear someone being like, I don't get the movie, it's like probably a parent. And I think it's just like, I think like taking, I don't know where the idea came first. Like if they first were like, you know, this story, you know, about parents and child, or if the alternate universe idea came first and they were like, how, okay, where are we going with the alternate universe? Or just kind of all both came together. They realized like how, you know, a parent treats their child and like all how far they push them then can like create alternate universes, you know, because they had to like think complexity. They kind of had to think of like in the middle of the movie first to then get to the beginning of the movie, because they were like, okay, how does this make sense that it would be this woman and this daughter and then, you know, kind of this universe, but like where does it make sense? And it's because in the future, not in the future, but like you learn all spoilers later in the movie, like, oh, because in another universe where she's like this really smart scientist or whatever, she like pushes her too far and then this happens. And anyway, but yeah, it kind of makes me wonder, like, why was it the I don't know any of the characters' names, I'm sorry. Isn't the girl like Eve? No, that's not it. I'm really bad with names in movies, I'm sorry guys. Don't hate on me, I know this is like the greatest movie ever made and I don't know any of the characters' names. What's her name actually be? Eve? It's something like that. It's something like that. No, it's Joy. Oh, I knew it was like a one word. I knew it was like a one word thing. And my one thing, I was like, why was it her in this universe? And I guess they just did show us the universe where it was her, and then it was kind of interesting, like, you know, her husband from the other Alpha, I remember that Alpha universe was like, you know, we thought you were the one, but you're not the one. And, you know, you always see that in movies. But anyway, I was kind of looking at this like in every element critical, and I don't know, like the dialogue actually is like so good in the way it moves and like the way, I don't know, like, and so like I don't remember that, like obviously like I didn't think that the writing was bad my first time remembering. I just remembered, I think, so much more that was so good that I didn't really think much about the writing. And I think they did win the Oscar for Best Writing. But anyway, when you think about the story, like the way the story, I mean, the story moves, and then a lot of the like, the way, the editing, I think that's like, I think the editing is like the strongest part of this, because it just goes through so much. And I'm not gonna explain it so well, but like all those scenes where it's like pushing and pulling, just like the editing, I don't know, it's just like, I feel like this film should be studied in classes. And it's kind of like, there's so many parts to it, but it's hard to break down because there's so many parts to it, and then it's hard to analyze just one part because like it was all together, because even though it was like the editing, it was like the writing together with the cinematography, so it's hard to break down. But I think it's just a good movie to watch and study and be like, this is a good movie, you should try to make a movie that's close to this level. Like, I've never reached the level, but you should aim for this level. I don't know. So obviously I'm not doing a good job with this, and I'm sure there's obviously better Everything Everywhere All at Once reviews out there, but I guess this is a review from Rel Klein because I don't know. It's so good. Like, it's just so, and I think, I know, I wish I watched this for the first time like in a theater, because I think like people are like, there's so many climaxes, and there is, like, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, this movie. There's like no, like, I was like, oh wow, we're already getting into it, because they had to already get right into it. The actress who played Joy should have won the Oscar. Sorry, Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, obviously I feel like one day there will probably be a movie that's better than Everything Everywhere Once, but right now I'm saying this is probably the greatest movie ever made. So anyway, comment below your thoughts. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, please comment your thoughts about like things I did not touch on, because I obviously did not touch on a lot here. And so the movie for next week, we're taking a whole different turn, but it's Animal House from 1978. So comment your thoughts about Everything Everywhere All at Once and watch Animal House for next week. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye.